Hi, this is Dwayne with Discount Pools Direct. I thought I'd do a short video. We get a lot of questions on and how to operate your pump and filter. So I'll be going over the different functions on the multi-port valve and what each one of them is there for. We're here today. This is a beautiful Diamond Star 1833 pool, and the homeowner let us come out and videotape. You know, this is the AquaPro 2 horsepower, 2-speed sand filter system. And you know, no matter what brand pump you have, it's Waterway is another brand we carry, the multi-port is going to operate in the exact same way. All right, so I'm going to give you a few tips on before we start going over the functions of the multi-port valve. So anytime you change the settings on this, you always want to make sure that your pump is off. So there's a gasket in here called a spouter gasket, and if you try to move this handle to a different position with the pump still running, more than likely it's going to tear that gasket, and then you'll get water leaking out of your waste port, and the spouter gasket will have to be replaced. So no matter which pump you have, this happens to be a 2 horsepower, 2-speed pump, so there's an off, but there's also a low and a high, and the button is always on the back of the pump. And if you have a 1 horsepower, 1-speed, or 1.5 horsepower, 1-speed, you know, you just have an on and off. So cut your pump off. When you go to the handle here, what you want to do is, if you start in a clockwise position on your functions, you always want to move your handle clockwise. We found out that the gasket will wear out prematurely if you move it clockwise one time, counterclockwise the next time, clockwise the second time. So once you start, you know, even if you're here and you want to move somewhere real close, you know, make a full revolution, you know, just, again, I always recommend just keep it clockwise. All right, the first function we're going to talk about is filter. So this is the function where your pump and filter will be running in most of the time. You know, a lot of people will ask, you know, how often do I need to run the pump and filter? You know, I always recommend, and I've been doing pool work for about 20 years, I say let it run 24/7. Anybody with an in-ground pool, the pump is always running. You'll find out you have less problems with your chemicals, with algae. Your water will stay much clearer if you just let it run. The pump, you know, draws very little amps, so you're not going to see a significant increase in your electric bill. So just, you know, unless you're coming in here to backwash to do something else, just let it run 24/7. Right, the next function is waste. All right, what you would use waste for, inevitably we're going to get, you know, thunderstorms in the summertime, and you may get 1 inch, 2, 3 inches of rain. It may have a week of rain nonstop. So if you need to drain water off your pool, and usually it's rainwater, or maybe you throw the hose over in it to top your water off and you forget it's on and your water level gets too high. So what waste does, it completely bypasses the sand filter. So there's no need, if all you're going to do is be draining water off your pool to filter it, because it's going right out the waste port. So, again, anytime you just want to drain water off your pool, use the waste setting. The next function is closed. If you're working on something, if you're trying to clean the pump basket, the skimmer basket, you know, you need the water shut off. You know, when you winterize your pool, you'll use closed, and basically that shuts the valve off so no water flows through at all. All right, so the next function is backwash. After filter, this is going to be your most used setting, you know, here on your multi-port valve. And so I'm going to show you in detail of how to backwash. So it's real simple. Again, right now it's running in filter. So I want to reach down and I want to cut my pump off. I'm going to move in the clockwise position over the backwash. All right, and now this is a 2-speed system. So normally I like to backwash on high if I have a 2-speed system. If you only have a 1-speed system, you know, just cut your pump on. So now, usually you'll count or time the backwash. You want to run it about 2 minutes. You know, backwash, you want to do this, you know, every, 10 days, you know, at least every 2 weeks. And like I said, 2 minutes is what you want to run it on. And, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and shut it off now because this customer happens to be on well water and I want to waste it. All right, the pump is off. Once it's run 2 minutes, you're gonna move it over to rinse. everything that was maybe left from backwashing, because in backwash, basically what you do is normally the flow comes through the pump and is pulled down through the top of the filter, and the top, probably 6 inches of sand, does 90% of the filtering. But in backwash, it actually reverses the flow and pushes it back up. So all the oils and bugs and debris, dirt that's gotten trapped in from the previous week to 2 weeks is in that sand. So you want to get it out of there so it cleans that top surface of sand again. And so once it's backwash, reversed, and out, then you want to hit it on rinse. Again, put it on high if you have a 2-speed, and you want to run rinse on about 30 seconds. After it's rinsed, you reach down, cut it off, move it back in filter, and then you're good to go. Another indication, you'll get to know your pool, and when you first start your system up, reach over and feel how much pressure is coming out of your return jet. And that's kind of a good indication to know when it's time to change. You'll see the water flow will start getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And when it starts getting real weak, where you really don't see anything moving on the top of the water, then it's time to backwash. All right, the next function over here is winterize. You can use either one of these functions during the winterization. Some people use close, some people winterize. I think I've used both of them, but anyway, that's the only time you'll use that is when your pool is winterized. That's if you winterize. In some parts of the country, you'll keep your pool running all year long. The last function is recirculate. Now, recirculate is important because, some people have problems with algae. And so if you're trying to clear your pool water up and your water's green, or at the beginning of the spring when you take your cover off and your water's green, the last thing you want to do is try to filter all that algae through this little bitty sand filter. What you want to do is, as you're adding your chemicals, you want to put it on recirculate. And so all that does, it brings the water from the skimmer through the pump, and it sends it through the multiport. Again, it doesn't go through the sand, and it shoots it right back into the pool. So while you're trying to kill that algae, and until you're able, if you've got a bad algae problem, once you kill it, you actually have to vacuum it out, once it dies and floats to the bottom of the pool. You'll just want to run it on recirculate, and that way it prolongs, the time frame between sand changes. Under normal usage, you should get, 5 years before you have to do a sand change, but if you have a lot of algae problems and you're always filtering it, you may have to do a sand change every 2 to 3 years. So again, algae problem, always put it on recirculate and let it run until your water clears up. One thing about the pumping filters, whether it's the AquaPro like this or it's a Waterway, occasionally we'll get a customer that will plumb the filter up wrong, and they'll call in and say, my filter's not working, I'm not getting any flow. Or if you have a cartridge filter system, sometimes if you plumb it up wrong, it'll actually tear your paper filter. All the multiport valves, again, whether it's an AquaPro or the Waterway, if you look real closely on this one, it's in here, this says pump. So the pump is just what it says. You'll come off of your pump, and that's where it gets plumbed to. If you come around on the return side, that actually returns it to the pool. If you look on the side of the collar right here, it says return. And the waste, same thing. If you look here on the side, it says waste. So always make sure when you're plumbing it up, if it's you, not an installer, or you can go behind your installer. We have had them make the same mistakes. But always make sure before you start your system that it's plumbed correctly, and that way you don't take a chance of tearing your filter, messing anything up in the multiport valve. If you ever have any questions, just reach out to us. Okay, that's how easy operating your multiport valve on your filter system is. Again, this is Dwayne with Discount Pools Direct. Our website is discountpoolsdirect.com. Our toll-free number is 1-800-986-0748. If you have any questions at all, something that I didn't cover, or you still have further questions, just give us a call and we'll be glad to help answer anything you may have.